green-eyed lady, lovely lady, strolling slowly towards the sun.
One of the best one-hit wonder bands of all time, Sugarloaf. Green-eyed lady for you, the beautiful and enticing Dr. Sara Gottfried. She is our favorite lady scholar, the best organic gynecologist we've ever met. Harvard trained, I'm just going to read a list because I want people to know that you are truly legit. A Harvard trained integrative physician blending alternative medicine with state-of-the-art women's health. Her new book, never ceasing to amaze, The Hormone Cure, will be released in 2013 by, is it Scriber?
Scribner. We're missing an N.
Oh, we're missing an N. I thought it was Scribner, but you know, I'm just learning how to read. Just learning how to read. Scribner, Simon and Schuster. Not too bad. Welcome back.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Do you
So
actually
great to
have
be with you?
green eyes?
They are green
They
eyes.
look green from
Greenish
here.
blue.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like that you chose that song. That was
picked
really
it
sweet.
for you.
Thank you.
All right, so they're greenish blue. Next time it'll be blue eyes. Next time. Whoa. Next time. All right.
So welcome back.
Thank
We've
you.
We've had you in the past. We're happy to have you again. For those of our listeners who haven't met you, let's talk about the regular doctor to the organic, ultra integrative women's advocate who also happens to be board certified in gynecology, Sara Gottfried. What's the? Can you explain what that means? The difference
What is
between like a
that?
regular gyno and what you do.
You got it. So what I do is I help women figure out why they don't feel good, why they don't feel as vital as they want to be. My work is really to address the gaps that women feel when they go to the regular doctor and they don't get the answers that they're looking for. They don't get the answers for the weight that they're struggling with. They don't get the answers for the mood that they have. And they want something deeper. They want something natural and a way to really feel their best, feel like they're in their prime.
So are you talking primarily to women like 40-ish, women who are dealing with these hormonal changes? Because
Yes.
we've had you on the show several times and we've talked about hormones before. It's real and it makes an impact. Let me tell you, I don't know what it is half the time, but you know, last week Lauren and I were both there was so much going on. And we both kind of felt this pit and like the need to breathe deeply, but kind of no relief in sight sort of thing. And can that be attributed to hormones?
Yes.
Yay.
Yes. So we can totally blame it on hormones. I mean,
Good.
one of the things that I think is really crucial is that many of us grow up thinking that menopause is some cliff that you're going to fall off of, sometime after age 50. And the truth is your hormones start to change in your late 20s, and you really start to notice it between 35 and 45. That's when the dramatic changes start to happen, not just to one hormonal system, but three. And it ends up being this perfect storm that creates the pit in your stomach or that feeling like you can't get a deep breath. So yes, we can totally blame it on hormones.
Okay. So does this mean, you grow up, you have the hormone surge now around 10, 12, 14, 16, somewhere between 17 and a half and 20. Those are our best years. Like those are our hormone stable years. Is that what you're telling us? We have 2.5 good years. And then the rest is just craziness.
Well, I would say it actually goes to your late 20s. So there's about a good decade in there.
Okay.
There's a really interesting study that was published in The Economist. I don't know if you're The Economist, but
All the time.
So there's this interesting relationship between age and psychological well-being. And it's a U-shaped curve where you feel your best, you're most psychologically healthy at 18, and then again after 50. And the worst, the absolute worst.
In the so-called prime of your life.
Exactly. So the worst psychological well-being is between 35 and 50. And that just doesn't that fit? I mean, doesn't that fit and validate the way that you feel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's constantly up and down. Like when I turned 40, I felt like I was on top of the world. Like I must have been having a good hormone year.
Yes.
And then 41 came and I was like, I'm going to feel better. Like it was not as much of a high as I was hoping it would. I just thought I was going to just keep on getting. So what are the hormones doing to impact the way that we feel? Like what's going on?
Well, you named a really key point, Lauren, which is that there is this inconsistency to your day-to-day experience where you can have a fantastic year. And then the key piece that's happening is that your ovaries are sputtering.
Oh,
So yeah,
Yeah, okay.
exactly. So you are not
That's what
making
that
as
means.
much estrogen and progesterone as you did through those lovely years into your late 20s. And you're going to have some months where you don't produce an egg. You may not even have many ripe eggs left. And you're going to have other months where you make an egg right on schedule, just like old times. So it's going to be
I love those
variable.
months.
Yeah, those are good months.
They're fewer and further between, but I still remember that feeling. It's almost like it's an ostrich egg or something. It's so like my body just like, oh, here it comes. I remember that. Honey, stay away.
Yeah, exactly.
Because God only knows.
I'm fertile.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what's
heavy.
what we understand that you've got these myths to dispel, or having something to do with adrenal glands. Could we start off by talking about what is an adrenal gland?
Sure.
And is that part of hormone production?
It is part of hormone
Okay.
production, yes. So when you were describing that pit in your stomach, that sense of anxiety that you were having, I would call that limbic hijack. So your limbic system in your brain is what takes in information. And when you get stressed out, like you get that call from your kid's school and you got to go pick them up and you're in the middle of something, you get taken over by stress. The main thing is cortisol, our good old friend, main stress hormone, which is supposed to get you out of a pinch. But the problem is most of us run around with way too much cortisol all the time. It's just part of our daily experience. We're in that stress mode all the time. We've got this limbic hijack just happening all the time. And when you put that together with the sputtering ovary, not so good.
You could say hello to me. This is what you get. I mean, it's crazy. Some days are crazy. I have to say, I did not know it was going to be that, just totally overwhelming. And so I thought I was in danger of having a heart attack, and I'm like, you know what? I just have to stop. I have to stop. I have to rethink it. I have to take a beat, right? And say, okay, don't respond to that email right at this moment. They're going to survive. They don't have to hear from you right now. They don't even know you're reading it right now. Just breathe. And then sometimes it goes away, and then one little thing will trigger it, and it comes right back.
Yes.
And it's like I had a cortisol sundae or something for dessert. How can we help ourselves? How can we change that?
There's a lot of ways to change this. So, so two different hormonal systems. We talked about the sputtering ovary. We've got this crazy stress response, the limbic hijack happening. And then one other piece is your thyroid, which starts to slow down. So instead of menopause, this is more thyropause, kind of the slowing down. And cortisol's also involved with that game too. Cortisol's all over the place, kind of the codependent hormone that has impulse control issues. So what can you do about this? You mentioned breathing, which is, I'm a yoga teacher. I love that. I feel like it's the answer to almost everything. But when you have that feeling of being stressed out and that pit in your stomach, what we tend to do is breathe very shallowly into the upper lobes of our lungs. And that reinforces the stress response.
Right, because you're panting.
You're panting, exactly. But if you breathe into the lower lobes of your lungs, it actually slows down this whole limbic hijack. You can reverse it completely. So that is definitely something you can do. But women don't want to pay me a lot of money to have them
Right.
to hear me say this. They want more than that. So there's much more you can do, of course. I love that you mentioned this concern about a heart attack, because I think it's really important to address the physical piece to this, and that you get checked out by a doctor. It used to be, I think, that women in their 40s would have these symptoms and they would assume it was a moral failing. And that I want to dispel. That is a key myth that I just want to completely bust. This is hormones 101, hormonal upheaval. You're not going crazy. This is not a moral failing. It is completely treatable. It is completely manageable. So with the crazy cortisol, besides breathing, there's a number of things that I think are really helpful. If you tend toward more anxiety, which is one of the labels I would maybe attach to that pit in the stomach, SAMe is one supplement that I think is really helpful.
The three letters CME, or is that one word, CME?
It's like the word Sam and then a little E on the end.
Oh, Sam E. Okay.
Sam E.
I actually brought you both some.
Really?
Oh,
And
wow.
where does one acquire Sam E?
the question could be, where do you not acquire it? Pretty much every grocery store or health food store has it. So it's a very common supplement that's used. It's a natural substance that helps you with easing the stress response. So it's proven to help with anxiety. It helps with mood. It also seems to help some people with sleep.
Oh.
And you
Sometimes
just take
I have the sleep issues when all that's piling up. Then you can't sleep, right?
Of course not, right?
Yeah.
So you take it daily, just like a
You can
daily
take it
supplement
daily.
with your vitamin C or whatever.
You know, once you've, my whole strategy is really to work with what is your root cause. So I think it's important not to rush to the higher order solutions and to really figure out, okay, why is it that I'm anxious? Is it that my cortisol's high? You can ask your doctor to order your morning cortisol level and you can see, is it elevated? You can also see what's going on with your ovaries. Are they sputtering? Maybe you know that already because of your period. You can also get your thyroid checked. You want to use the latest normal ranges, not the outdated ones that a lot of physicians still use, but the new ones since 2002. So you want to check out those things. If those are all normal, that's where I think you move on to these higher order solutions like SAMe,
Okay.
fish oil, always on the list, right?
Have some in my fridge.
Yay.
Because of you.
Yay.
Yeah.
And then another important piece, I think, especially for working moms, is to look at how am I constructing my day? Like, are you a muster? That's one term that I really like. Are you someone who is always saying to yourself, I must do this, I must do that, I must eat kale, I must take my kids to piano lessons? You know, that whole thing that we get into as moms, which drives us into the ground. I really feel like we need to be careful about having a minimum amount of self-care, a minimum dose of self-care that we're getting every day to help prevent that time where you have the pit in your stomach.
Right. Well, last week the pit was there, and last week was a week where there was almost no self-care. Didn't work out once, was rushing from here to there, you know, trying to be everything to everyone, and then just kind of feeling totally depleted at the end and losing sleep. And it was a really rough week. So that's huge.
This is huge. And it's also, in some ways, we're wired and then heavily conditioned to over-provide. I really find this as a mother. I over-provide to my kids. I do this all the time. You know, an example of this is it's basically where you're doing things for people where they could be doing it for themselves. I do this with my 12-year-old all the time, where I'll ask her to empty the dishwasher and then I'll step in and empty half of it with her. I don't need to do that. She needs to learn how to empty the dishwasher herself. But here I am adding to my workload when I don't need to be. And husbands tend to be a little bit better about not doing this.
Right. Well, it sounds like, because we have to say goodbye in just a minute, but it sounds like the solutions can come from the inside in terms of supplements that you can take and go see your doctor, understand what's really going on, how to deal with it. And then from the outside, the actions that you're taking or maybe not taking or shouldn't be taking and managing that.
Very true.
All right.
Nice summary.
Sort of bottom
Let's
line.
plug the book again.
Yes.
Look for The Hormone Cure by Dr. Sara Gottfried. It's coming out in 2013 by Scribner, Simon & Schuster. We would love to offer you a Pretty Girl lip gloss of your choice if you care to reach into the bowl and select a color.
Choose
I
a
would
color.
love that.
While you're doing that, I will tell our listeners and viewers we've got What's Clicking coming up next. It's our weekly news roundup. And this week we've got AJ Delario from Gawker.com joining us in the fun. You can friend the Lady Brain Show at Facebook.com/LadyBrain. No time like the present. We'll be right back. Thank you.
American woman, stay away from me. American woman, mama, let me